So a release of Lis Pendens. You want to read that for us, Cody?
Once filed, it remains in effect until it is terminated by consent, expungement, or completion of the civil action. A release of Lis Pendens means they paid what was owed and the bank released them from foreclosure proceedings.
So you're going to see this on public record. You're going to see Lis Pendens, and you also see release of Lis Pendens, or release of notice. And it's a file. It's an actual document.
But they're not required to file the release, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, if there's one on there, they have to.
They have to.
Or-
If you've paid and you've brought it current, they have to file that.
And it could be just like the one that I was looking at with the two sisters.
Yep.
She filed paperwork and there's a Lis Pendens on that title right now.
Can't sell it.
And so until she takes, either settles it or figures it out, you know, so.
Why do I see then on First American NOD, NTS, NOD, NTS, NOD, and then
How many more?
Like the NOD is like 6 months old.
How many mortgages are there?
So those are just outstanding. I mean, they're from years ago a lot of times, and there's just nothing that they're still untitled. The original owner's still untitled, but the NOD is like
So is a
2,
foreclosure
3 years old.
considered a Lis Pendens?
Yep, it's a pending action. Either they've done a bankruptcy and it stalled that out, or there's more than one mortgage on the property. And I found that to be the case too. It's not going to be accurate until you actually go down to the courthouse and follow the true chain of title to find out what's going on in the chain of title, to find out why there's multiple NODs and NTSs. Because they could have, so here's a solution that could happen. They could have NOD, NTS, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Worked it out.
Yeah.
Same people on title. Then they fall behind again because something else happens. NOD, NTS, well, I can't do bankruptcy anymore. I've already used that option. Let's work out a loan modification. We worked it out. Still going. Little time more, NOD, NTS. So that could be the solution. But until you actually go down to the title company and actually research that chain of title, you really don't know. That's just my speculation of what it could possibly be.
And what will it? Sorry, Cody. What will it show you at the title company? It'll show you that bankruptcy. It'll show you that loan mod. It won't show you those. Right?
It could. Yeah, it potentially could. That's when you got to dive into the conversation with the seller. Like, hey, I see you have this problem for a long time. What's been going on? And they'll tell you.
I'm sorry. What will it show you at the title company that doesn't show you on First American?
It's going to tell you all. So there's going to be an assignment of mortgage. There's going to be an assignment of trustee, actually. So an assignment of trustee, or substitution of trustee, an assignment of mortgage. You're going to be following all that to see what's going on in the process. So every time that happens, there's going to be a trigger.
I need to do that finally.
Yeah. What was the question?
So you're going to go down to the county after you walk the property and you decided you're getting ready to do it?
I'm doing this all before I walk the property.
So you're going to go to the county
I'm doing it.
also?
No, I'm not even going to the county. This is all preliminary online.
So when do you go to the county? After you walk the property?
Yeah, when I know I got a deal. I'm like, I got to go find this stuff out. Yep, great question. So here's the cool thing about Property Radar. Actually, it's not so cool. Is they do not track releases there's just no release. They do not do that. So they could have an NTS or an NOD. So they do assignments. So yeah, the assignment was, they did an assignment of mortgage, NOD, NTS, and holy crap, this was released. But you don't know that. You still think this house is in pre-foreclosure. So you have to do your county research as well. So unfortunately, Property Radar does not track that.
So First American tracks releases, but Property Radar does not.
Correct.
So then you can flip back and forth,
Definitely.
and then maybe like do property radar.
I wouldn't do that on every property. It's so cumbersome. Yeah, I would just like, when I realize that someone calls me back and I got a deal, okay, great. I set an appointment to go walk the property. We've had the 3-price conversation. They told me exactly what they're at in price. I'm like, cool, let's set up an appointment. Before I go out there, I got to know some numbers. And you're going to see the reasoning why here. I'm laying the foundation of why this is so important for you. So I'm doing my homework. I'm like, okay, I understand now where they're at. I understand this guy has a lien on this property. He has a mortgage for $191-ish. So we're going to go from there. And I wouldn't have known this. I might have walked into this situation here, and I'd be like, this guy's in foreclosure. I'm going to get this property. And he's like, what are you talking about, man? I took care of that. Holy crap, what? Huh? Exactly.
Well, and you can also call the trustee and give them the sale number.
You can do that as well.
And I've done that
Yep.
too, and found out, yes, it's been released.
And they'll tell you that, true.
Yep.
Yep. you find that. So if you were to click on First American, if you were to click on any one of these, the hyperlinks, it pulls it up. It has a notice of default and it has a trustee number and all that stuff, and you can call those people. So, but I'm just looking for a quick little thing like, okay, it's been released. So to answer your question, Eric, yes. The only time this foreclosure is no longer happening is if it's been released. If it hasn't been released, it's still in play, unless they've had a modification, and there's no way of knowing that until you talk to them.
You know what it might be also is that I'm thinking First American, but it could have been Property Radar as well.
It could be.
So
True.
they just don't track it. And do you know why they don't?
I don't know why. No, I don't. It's a lot of information, possibly. I don't know. So, but here's what you do know. If there's no release, because here's what you hear all the time. Hey, Mr. Seller, you know, I'm here to help you with your property. Don't worry, I got it taken care of. Oh, okay, great. Well, I'm wondering what you did because I'm still looking here online, and anytime something's been taken care of, your lender files a notice of release, and I don't see a notice of release. So what did you do? All the time. Oh, it's taken care of, guys. We're good. So, yeah, this is why it's important to know that when you're talking to these guys. Because, well, gosh, maybe your lender forgot to do something because it's still showing as pending foreclosure. They haven't filed the notice of release yet. Are you sure you paid? Oh, my mom was supposed to pay for me. She hasn't done it yet. She's getting paid next Friday. All these, dumb answers.
So on that, how much, you sort of play dumb in some places, and then you sort of share and, let them know that you have information.
It depends on what they give
You
me.
don't want to seem like, a spy or
Yeah.
something like that, because people get freaked out when you share too much information, when you share that you know too much information. So where do you is there a place there where
I feel them out. Where are they at? How open are they to me helping them? If they're completely closed off, and I realize I might not have a chance with this guy, then yeah, I might just lay it all out. If I realize that, hey, I can just be Columbo, oh geez, hey, whatever, and try to figure it out, then I'll do it that way. I can be Peter Falk.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah. Oh, wait, one more. Yeah. Before I forget.
Before I go.
Yeah. It's a great way, man. I swear, play dumb. There's nothing wrong with that. Not an ego thing. I'm looking to get information.
Also, it's true to them when they say it. So
Yeah.
the more stuff that you can get them to say,
Of course.
the more they're going to be.
Here, questions lead to confessions. All the time. If you listen to people, they'll tell you their problems. If you listen to them long enough, they'll tell you how to solve them. That's all I'm trying to do. So if I come out as a know-it-all, well, I've now just shut that gate off. I'm trying to figure out how I can still help you, The more information I know, the better options I'm able to provide you. Those phrases that I use all the time with people. So, Property Radar, it doesn't close that. So, who should you bring with you to the property when you're walking this property? You bring your mom? There you go. Mom, can I buy this house? I don't know, son. It's a lot of money.
Saying wholesaling, you bring the buyer.
That's what I do. Yes. So, depending on your exit, if you're wholesaling the property, I bring my buyers or contractors. Only if, now I don't want to say this as a blanket statement. This is not a beginner's move, but it is a beginner's move. If you don't know how to comp a property, if you don't know how to comp repairs, then you might as well bring your buyer. And they'll tell you on the spot, hey, I'll pay this much money for this house. Because they'll walk in and they'll tell you okay, this is what I'll pay for it. Then you go back and you negotiate to get a price lower than what they're willing to pay for it. But if it's a crazy property, where you're just oh my gosh, I can't comp this thing, it's just ridiculous, I'm bringing my buyer. I'd be like, hey man, I got this property. I don't know really what I could comp this thing out at. Tell me what you think. We'll go walk it together. You give me your price. I'll go back and negotiate it. And I've done this a lot of times. It's a very, very easy way to do it. I got a house right now that it's just way high, and I can't get the right price on the comp. It's a 5-acre property on the way to Browns Valley, so it's out in the country, but it's right off of Highway 20, and it's right before Browns Valley. I got comps as high as 500. I got comps as low as 390, all over the place. It's hard. to comp a property like that. So I called up one of my buyers that wanted it, and he goes, I got a property that's similar, same square footage, same land. We're in escrow right now for $470. What does this house look like a month? This house is completely gutted. And I know, honestly, like, I know what my price needs to be, but this kid's holding out firm. He's like, no, I've had 5 realtors tell me I can sell this house for $550 all fixed up. And I'm like, $550, dude, you're crazy, man.
Fix it.
Exactly right. We're on the money, but they told me this is what. So he's selling it as is for $350. And so I'm like, shoot. So I told the guy, I'm like, you go out to the property and walk it. It's vacant. The kid said you can go inside and come back with a price of what you wanted at. His price was exactly where I thought it was going to be, which is right around $225. Huge discrepancy of where this guy's at. Yeah, I'm like, dude, this is where it's at. It has to be this way. And you're going to see why it has to be that way. We're going to get to these numbers here in a minute. So, but
you didn't tell them what you had it under contract for, or what you.
I don't have it under contract.
Or what you were.
Oh no, I'm transparent with these guys. They don't care. They tell me what they're going to buy it at, and I get it lower than that. That's my goal. That's what I have to do. I have to negotiate a lower price so that I get paid. If I can't get them their price, then what am I doing? So I had a house recently, the one that I told you guys I got for $238. My buyer said he's between $250 and $260. So I got $238. What did I sell it to him for?
255.
$250 actually. Yeah. He was actually really surprised. Like, really, $250? Really? That includes your fee? $250? I'm like, dude, I'm making 12 on this one. He's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
And he'll be back next time when he's.
He always comes back. He's a great buyer, and that's why I did that for him. There's no reason for me to make 17 on it. That's the one he's going to make 435 on. He's going to sell it for sweet deal for him. It's okay. Let me tell you the story. So this particular buyer, I had a duplex here in Marysville. It's a terms deal. What I mean by that is the owner was willing to carry the mortgage. A duplex for $100,000 with $1,000 down and $500 a month. The rent downstairs was $500. Paid for itself. It's a sweet deal. I wish I would have kept it. I was broke. I didn't have enough money to pay my rent that month. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have this house. No, I didn't even have this house at this time. Like, I knew that was a deal that I had negotiated with him a long time ago, but I couldn't pull the trigger because I didn't have the money. And so I'm like, crap, I got to sell something fast. So I call the guy back up. I'm like, dude, I'll take your deal. $1,000, $500 a month. We got this deal. I met this buyer, this guy who's been my number one buyer. I met him at the property, and we walked the property. And he's like, so what do I do? I said, well, if you want this property, it's $3,000 now and another $3,000 at closing. He's like, $3,000 up front? I'm like, yeah, if you want it. If not, I'm going to go to the next guy. He's like, what happens if you bounce? Well, like, if I, pay you the $3,000 and this house doesn't close or something falls apart on it or whatever, or my inspections come back and it's like, falling. I'm like, you just did an inspection right now. Either you want it or you don't. Pulls out his checkbook, writes me a check for $3,000. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, 1, I got rent. 2, if he doesn't buy it, I got 30 days to find another property and, scramble. Fortunately, it's sold. I've never once collected money up front like that before from a buyer. I've always got it at the close of escrow. But I told this guy, like, this is exactly how it is. He didn't know that my back was against the wall. I needed that money desperately. But because the deal was so sweet, he took it, man. He ended up sitting on it for about 6 months. Person downstairs paying every single month the mortgage payment, so it's no big deal at all out of his pocket. It's just from one pocket to the other. He ended up selling it for $146, as is. Never did anything to it. Just sat on it. He was out of pocket, a couple of grand on the fee he paid me, but he made that back. Like I said, I wish I would have sat on that property. I wish I would have had the money at the time. I didn't. It's okay. It's no big deal. But I developed a relationship with this guy that, look, you can trust me. I'm going to deliver on the goods. And so we've done deal after deal after deal after deal. So right now, he's my preferred buyer. He always has first right of refusal. And so my point in telling you the story is, what if you don't have buyers right now? What should you do? Should you go look for buyers? No. Look for properties. Buyers followed the properties. I had the property, buyer showed up. I can talk to buyers all day long. Won't do me any good until I'm just wasting their time until I actually have a property that I can give them. Because what will happen is I'm going to present myself as this performer. Like, hey guys, I'm a producer. I got these deals coming in, all this stuff. I'm going to get these phone calls or I'm going to get these messages. Got a deal for me yet? Hey, do you have a property for me yet? Oh no, I'm still working for something. And you look like you're just
Yeah.
not out there.